Guys, another Adonis review today. Today I am doing Skyrim VR. And I'm not gonna lie, this game I completely forgot about for a while on my hunt for VR games to play. I'm always constantly looking for, this secret gem of a game to enjoy that I just completely forgot about. And somehow I've completely forgot about Skyrim, that it could even be played in VR, and I always held off on it. Skyrim's always been one of those games notorious in my mind for I'm never gonna have enough time to play it. But now in a world where I spend 250 hours going through Elden Ring, it seems a lot more feasible. One of the things that have always held me back from playing Skyrim was the fact that it's old. So when it first came out, I didn't have the time to play it, and now that I do have the time to play it, I'm not going to play a PS3 game. That shitty graphics. I'll just focus on the newer games. So this is the perfect middle ground to discuss. As I've always said, when it comes to or I guess in VR games just in general, typically, at least the standards nowadays before PSVR 2 comes out, is that if it's at least at a PS3 level quality of visuals, that's the best you can kind of expect. Because luckily, in VR, PS3 actually looks pretty good. It's not an easy medium to judge when you just watch it on YouTube, but when you're in the world, and in that environment, it's pretty awesome to see, to be a part of it, even if it's not beautiful. As PS5 games or Xbox Series X games nowadays. So this is quintessentially the best game to play in VR. I recently also bought a VR game called Swordsman VR, I think. Just so I could I didn't really have any games other than maybe like Beat Saber that kind of had a sword mentality, which is something that seems like an obvious shoot. So I got Swordsman VR, which is kind of lackluster. Probably do maybe a review on that later, but this honestly is a perfect adaptation. If you've heard of Skyrim and again have been looking into play it and because it's maybe too old and the graphics are out of date or what have you, or you didn't have enough time, this is the way to do it. It is a 100% adaptation of Skyrim. Nothing's been cut out of it. Nothing's been changed. It is exactly the game but put in VR, which is a spectacle to see. This giant sprawling map with all these countless things to do. I mean, you can dual wield swords, axes, maces, fucking, spells, lightning, fire, healing. You can have one hand having, a flamethrower and the second hand having a sword and dual wield both, or you can have one hand having an axe and the other hand having your shield and block. And it's just a perfect combination of the two. It just really is well done and well thought out. I mean, it's a perfect game. I wish more great PS3 games would be crossed over in this dimension, allow you to see their world that they built meticulously. And can you imagine if The Witcher 3 got a VR adaptation to it? It'd be a spectacle, to say the least. I mean, I for sure would 100% buy it day one. So again, the positives, obviously, the PS3 is exactly the level of VR quality that you should expect to see in a game. So it definitely works out with the VR. Everything transfers over. Even shooting bow and arrows is very adept if you have the move controllers for the PSVR, for example. You're able to load the arrow, pull it back, release, and whatnot. I can't, at least I haven't seen a crosshairs for that, which is kind of a bummer, at least in my side. Maybe I got to check more, try more. But it's tough to tell where you're shooting it. But like I said, you can dual wield weapons, you can single-handedly hold weapons, you can, carry great axes, you can loot and pickpocket and steal everything in every area. You can ride a horse, ride dragons, change the weather. Every mission, 200 hours of gameplay, all in VR. this is the bang for your buck, if there ever was an example of bang for your buck. But that is also the negative. As I've always said, I say the sweet spot for VR is probably around 6 hours, 6-7 hours, probably pretty nice to kind of get a good feel of the game and enjoyment out of it. And this game, of course, is a 200-hour game. If you're any type of completionist to try to do, all the low side levels and things they have available. So that's a big commitment just for a normal game, let alone a game that is done in VR. That you can get motion sickness. I feel like you definitely can train. I was very easily taken over with motion sickness. Years of me having this, and maybe because I've been doing it so much more lately, I've been getting a lot better at it. I can now play for 2-3 hours without really feeling that sickness feeling. And I don't know if that's just because I play it more or what it is, but you can get better and handle it better. So it's good to know. But again, still 200 hours is a lot for anything, especially like I said in VR. Again, the graphics could be nicer. That would be nice if they did it. But as far as the controls go, at least if you have like the Move controllers, for example, it's dynamite. It works perfectly. It really is a perfect transition game. And at least at the time of me making this, I was able to see it for $15. I think the normal price for it's around $40. Honestly speaking, $40 probably is the perfect amount for this game. I mean, it's fair. This game gives you so much. It's probably one of the best VR games you really could get, and I completely forgot about it. And maybe you did too. But if you're looking for a great VR game, this is one not to skip at all. But like I said, if you go in right now, maybe you can get it for $15. I know that I got it on sale, at least in the PlayStation Store for the PSVR. So it's worth looking for. At least that you can get it for $15. It can be that price. Which would be a fantastic deal for 200 hours of VR gameplay. And that's it. I can't really think of much more to say about it. It's a great game when it originally came out. On just normal gameplay, but obviously I think the game came out in 2011, so it's outdated now. But not for the VR. So this is the perfect thing to get if you're looking for a game that to really hit out of the park for VR. This is it. I'd buy it. If you get it, enjoy it. Let me know. Later, guys.